So,
Here we are.
back in the man cave again, and now we're moving on to another president, unfortunately.
Not good.
Yes. The president before him, Lincoln, is ranked way up here in terms of presidential rankings. The next one, Johnson, is going to be pretty much towards the bottom. So that would be like going to a concert and seeing the greatest act ever, and then the following act is you and I, like doing our act as rappers.
I always refer to the
or
when the Beatles first appeared on Ed
Yes.
Sullivan.
There you go.
The act that came on after the Beatles was like a man who had trained a monkey to ride a bicycle.
Right. You leave at that point.
Yeah, it's
you leave.
Yeah. I mean, because like you've seen Washington D.C., you know the Washington Monument, you know the Lincoln Memorial. There's no Johnson Monument there. Maybe there's a statue of him somewhere, like in like the corner next to like.
Being that he was from Tennessee,
Moe's Deli or something.
We didn't do presidential libraries at this point, but being that he was from Tennessee, maybe somewhere. I'm
sure there is something there.
There's got to be something. I mean, because when he was done as president, and I think he's the only one to do this, he did become a senator.
Yes.
So
I know Taft became Chief Justice,
Supreme Court Justice. That's one of these things.
Became representatives.
So it doesn't happen often. So of course, we mentioned before. Unfortunately, Lincoln passed, John Wilkes Booth assassinates him, and now, of course, when the president dies, the vice president has to take over, and the vice president is going to be Andrew Johnson. Here he is; he's getting sworn in. Now, when we look at character traits or qualities, historians have looked back on him and has said, well, this guy is stubborn. He's principled, he's ambitious, and uncompromising.
I think these two character
I know where you're going with this.
Are great in a president.
Yes.
These two?
Yes.
Not so much.
Especially when you have to compromise.
Yes. They're trying to reunite the country, trying to bring the South back into the Union after they seceded. And how are we going to get this? Well, this is like kind of almost seems like he's going to be like, it's my way or the highway.
Right.
That sounds like what his plan is going to...
And when you have that approach, it never really works.
Yeah.
Now, some background on him, he idolized Andrew Jackson, who was also from Tennessee, also with the same initials. Andrew Jackson, however you look at him, he's an interesting person to look at. You have the Native American Removal Act, the Indian Removal Act. Was responsible for killing thousands of Native Americans. However, there was some interesting stories about him. Somebody tried to assassinate him when he was an older president, and he beats the ever-living snot out of the assassin with a cane. So Andrew Jackson is one of those guys where there's some interesting tough guy stories, I guess you could say, but then there's some things that he did to people that you really wouldn't be proud of.
Yeah, there's a reason why today he's being removed from the $20 bill and replaced by Harriet Tubman. There is a reason for that.
Yes.
Widely considered to be during his presidency, overreaching the office of the presidency, bringing too much power. He vetoes the National Bank. I think he vetoed more bills than any other president in history up till that point.
Right. And then Andrew Johnson, he's also going to be responsible for vetoing a lot, which brings us back to a
lot of things that were actually good.
Yeah,
a lot of things that were actually
which
good.
we will get to. Again, this is his idol, Andrew Jackson, of course, the hero of the Battle of New Orleans during the War of 1812. Wins this battle when the war was over.
That's one of those great things.
Probably something similar, and even something you and I were kind of like hinting that where they both seem to favor, the common man or the poor man. That's Andrew Jackson's roots.
Yeah.
Because you could see even when he got elected, this was inauguration day at the White House.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Andrew Johnson was a Democrat.
Yes.
Was from a different political party than Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's first vice president, a man by the name of Hannibal Hamlin, was actually not on the ticket for Lincoln's re-election because they wanted, the Republican Party at the time wanted to be able to help unite by bringing in a Southern Democrat, Johnson, from a slave state, one of the slave states that did not secede. They wanted to keep those border states, as they were called, loyal to the Union.
So when it comes to Johnson's now going to have a plan. Lincoln's plan, we probably have mentioned before, 10% have to swear loyalty to the Union. You're going to give amnesty. This is going now to allow southern states, once they write new constitutions, to now participate in government again, especially when you're looking at Congress and the Senate.
Only the leader. Remember, big thing of Lincoln's
Big
plan.
thing.
Only the leaders were going to be punished.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Big
because
part of it.
That's going to be.
If you
part
led
of
the
this.
Confederacy, no amnesty for you. We're going to go after you.
You're done. So when we look at his plan, probably to put it simple, before we started taping and we were doing our own planning with our producer and directors that do not exist, one of the things that we said, I mean, to put it down simple, is that, Eric Foner, the historian for Reconstruction, he pretty much said, really with his plan, and when you're looking at the South, they just wanted to admit that they lost the war and slavery was over.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of other things that need to come into play. So let's see.
Like yes, Johnson's plan did call for a majority of white men, so it's more than the 10% plan.
Yes.
But there's no provision here that's going to punish them. In fact, they're saying leaders may vote and hold office.
That's a huge
So
problem.
under Andrew Johnson's plan, the very same men who seceded from the Union, the very same men who committed treason, the very same men who led a civil war against the United States of America, a rebellion against the United States of America, they are now, under his plan, able to be elected back into the Congress, into Senate, into the House, heck, the presidency if they win,
Right.
to lead the United States of America. Something Lincoln was like, no. If you led the Confederacy, you can no longer hold office, you are being punished, blah, blah. So this is basically like, South, you lost, slavery's over, everything's good. Now, if you're a Southerner, you're going to like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, all right,
Of course.
we lost, fine. Yeah, we lost.
But when I'm a
Fine.
Southerner, and we'll probably address this another one. Now that slavery's over, now if I'm a poor white or a middle class white, and I'm struggling now to make it, now I have to really be afraid of African Americans because that all throughout since 1619 up until now, they're slaves. Now they're freedmen and African Americans. There's a transition from your property to now you're a person. Now if I'm a poor white, I have to compete with that guy for a job. That's going to kind of play into this as well, because we look at, African Americans are going to get rights. We'll address the amendments probably in a separate one if it's not here. And yes, we will address it in a separate one. We didn't work that out with the producer before we went on. But go ahead, Nick.
I want you to understand. So basically, Lincoln's plan was lenient, but was tough on the leaders of the Confederacy.
Yes.
So now Johnson comes in, and it's like, yeah, I'm not even, you lost, slavery's over, and that's it. Anybody can hold office as long as you swear loyalty, blah, 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 blah. Now the South, they're like, this is awesome.
Right.
This is great. Well, all right, we know we lost the Civil War.
Sure.
We know that slavery is going to be abolished, but we're going to have plans for that. We'll get to that in a couple episodes. So now it goes from Lincoln's leniency with toughness on the leaders to this. The South is like, this is great. Sign us up. Where can we sign? We're going to go with Johnson's plan. That's what the South would want.
Now, to give you an idea, all right, here's, when you're looking at Johnson's plan, Andrew Johnson pardoning rebels at the White, I mean, look at how packed this is.
Yep.
Where you go to Lincoln's, when we're talking about the 10% plan and 10%, there's a little bit of a contrast here when you're kind of looking at just to spin off from this.
The Confederates were like, yeah, where do we sign?
Yeah. Exactly.
Where do we sign?
Exactly.
Now, the big problem is Johnson's super leniency here is going to create for him a lot of enemies within the United States government, a group of Republicans who are going to become known as the radical Republicans. And they're going to go to war with Johnson.
Right, perfect. Okay, so I think we're done here.
Yeah.
I think I'll turn off the comments on this, on the YouTube one, because then the people in the South are going to start putting in their own comments about us. So
Bring it.
It's one of those issues when you're looking at this happened such a long time ago, where people, again, when you're looking at different sources and you're looking at who those sources are and who wrote them and where they came from, there's differing opinions even in 2020. Even though the war is over, there's still some...
Thanks to the Daughters of the Confederacy and a little movement known as the Lost Cause.
So
we should do our own episode on the Lost Cause.
We're going to have to.
We're going to have to
We'll
now.
turn off the comments on YouTube.
Yeah, we will.